Yo, Secret Household. Welcome back.
Secret home.
Secret House Against. Secret Condo.
Secret apartment.
Undercover Ziggurat. Anyways, welcome back. You know, Tokyo-based hip-hop art and culture conversations. It's me and Jet again. Shout out to all our people. The Patreons, the subscribers, the commenters, people in the Discord. Go ahead and check the link, show notes to join the Discord and be a part of it and do those type of things. On the screen right now, you can see some of our people that we love and support and who also support us. And yeah, today, as you can see from the title of the title of the show, this episode or this thing, Jed and I are going to try to hit you guys with our 11th favorite album of the year. But
favorite albums.
Yeah, favorite albums
11th
of the year.
Favorites.
Yeah, so basically we put together a list of like 10 albums that could easily take the 11th spot on our top 10 list. And we decided to put this out because we haven't been able to get it together to put out our top 10 list yet. We're having some scheduling issues. Hopefully those get resolved soon. We're trying to get Spade on, and Spade's in the States, so you know there's that whole 14-hour time difference. It's hard to navigate during the week, even with the holidays, especially with the holidays. So hopefully we have that for you soon. I'm hoping that we can get Spade on. If we can't, we're just going to push it out and figure it out and do that. And then after that, we're going to be collaborating with the Sonic Cloth podcast, our homie Jamil over there, on our top 10 favorite non-hip-hop albums of the year, which you know, the open format, anything on there. But we haven't scheduled that yet, but it'll be out. Also, I might put this out before the Africa review because I want to kind of do a little edit job on that. And also before the Sano interview that we did. I'm kind of, I don't know, it's the holidays. We'll figure it out. But I do want to get you guys this. So, yeah, about calling this number 11.
Yeah.
So when you put together your list, how did you do it? You explain yours, I'll explain mine. Because I don't know if I explained the premise specifically as I did just now.
So I did more or less what I did last year. I think last year I was a bit more objective and tried to stick to it a little bit more. This year I just made like a big pool of maybe 35 or so albums that I was like, yeah, this could be in my top 10. Like, oh yeah, I really liked this. Oh, this is something I really enjoyed. Stuck them all into a big like ranking software, and it spat out a list of what, you know, where you compare like head-to-head elimination style. Which is your favorite of these two?
And then it aggregates that based
on
the choices
you make. And then I was kind of dissatisfied with it. So
mine too. I did that too.
I kind of just cheated, and I was just like, this should be above this. This should be above this.
So your list right now that you've got is basically just the bottom half of your list that you used that method for?
Yeah, or the middle section on there. There's another 10 or 20 albums on here that I could have happily included on the list we'll talk about today. Yeah. You know, some honorable mentions or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And in some cases also, like, for example, with like the Blockhead, the Orcs, the album is probably better than most of the albums I'm going to talk about today if you're trying to be like objective about music.
But we don't.
But like, odds are if you're watching to a degree we don't. And also if you're watching Secret House, like, you probably know about Blockhead already. We're not really putting you onto anything with that. So I was kind of like maybe a little harder on albums that our listeners are already very familiar with and albums our listeners might already love a lot. You know, try and highlight some albums that I really personally enjoyed as opposed to like critically acclaimed darlings.
Sure.
There are some darlings on here as well, but yeah, for the most part, try and keep it stuff I was into, cool stuff.
For my 11 through 20 is basically like I'll give you guys a whole convoluted methodology that I use to put together my top 10 list, which is more of like a favorites than it is like albums that I think are more towards it objectively deserving the position for the variety of reasons that other outlets will give you in terms of like the importance, like how innovative album sale, like all that bullshit that comes with it. Like mostly these are just albums that for one reason or another album took its place on my top 10 list. And most of these albums that I have on here, I feel like only two of the albums that I have on here were not ever on the top 10. They were on the 11th. But the rest of them, I mean, I've had some of these at 3, and then I started to realize like, oh, I'm none of these numbers mean anything. because I like all of these meals for a variety of different
arbitrary.
reasons.
Ranking, numbering, all this stuff.
Yeah.
This is why we don't give numbered scores. If we're going to give numbered scores, then I have to put my 10s at the top, and I have to put my 9s underneath. I have to put my 8s under there, and then maybe that would be my top 10.
And then justify it. Like, even though this album is really only a 5, I listen to it more than a 9.
And there are, like I said, there are a bunch of albums that are better by whatever metric you might
for sure.
have. You know, the rapping is better, the beats are better, the production is better. Like, it's saying something more substantial, something more meaningful. And there's also a shit ton of albums I listened to a lot more than these ones. But
based upon your own personal biases.
Based on my own biases, exactly.
Right. Okay, but I did, and I see that you also have as well. Kind of put them by number. My numbers are very arbitrary in that position. Would you say the same about yours or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, any of these could have been in the top 10 if I'd woken up on the other side of bed this morning.
All right. So let's go through our list. We'll go back and forth.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll start with you. We'll go back and forth, and then at the end we'll do our dark horse 12th albums, maybe like a couple 12s.
Sure. I mean, we can do that? A little honorable mention stuff.
Yeah, that's what. Basically that. All right. So you want to start it off? Yeah. Are we gonna play like a little bit of music in the background? Is that too much? Do you think that's too much or not enough?
That's probably fine, right?
Okay, yeah. So I'll let you get started and then I'll follow up.
So my my number 11 or number 20, like whatever.
Since the table is metal, put this under it just in case. Shouts
out to Caltrops Press. Speak to the Jungle in the Hills, ZekeUltra and Nephew Hesh.
Great album.
This one, I think just maybe I love this album as much as I do just because it's kind of like it's excellent, but it is also just kind of really embodies what we do on Secret House more than anything. I was not familiar with either of these artists when we reviewed it. And you can tell it's just dope people making dope music together, probably in their bedrooms. I don't think this was done in $1 million studio or anything. The rapping on here is really, really good. The flowing on here is really, really good. And I really enjoy Nephew Hesh's production on here. It's just an album that, and it's an easy listen. It's a pretty breezy listen as well. It's 27 minutes long. And it's quality from start to finish. I really like ZekeUltra's voice. And this track I'm playing right now, Wasted Years, is definitely a candidate for one of my favorite songs of the year as well.
I feel you on that. And actually, this was also one of those albums that I would probably put in my 12 to 15 list. Yep. I found myself going back and forth between the ZekeUltra and the Wakai. Some people talk, some people scream.
Likewise.
Both of those albums kind of share like a similar kind of position within like that kind of weird net of hip hop sound and approach, and both of them are just really dope. But for whatever reason, I did not end up having that one on my list. Let me go into my next one right here. Right? Yeah. All right. So for me, the first one, and this might be a surprise to some of you listeners, but keep in mind this is 11. So my 11th choice is Mike, Burning Desire.
And incidentally, that was my next album I wanted to talk about.
Okay, bet. So that
works out.
So for me, Burning Desire, it kind of shocked me where this ended up falling. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I was grappling with two things, right? I really like Beware the Monkey, which came out at the very end of last year, like mid-late December.
Last year, okay.
Yeah, mid-late December. And it was the first album we reviewed this year. And I found myself like I really love some songs on that, and I think it was kind of a tighter listen. When I started thinking about like how much I like Burning Desire, there's about 3 songs on this album that I absolutely love. My number 1 song of the year that definitely is my favorite of the year is on this album, but I just kept finding reasons that I just didn't want to place this above other albums that I found interesting for different reasons. It felt a little bit tighter and more cohesive for me, but it's amazing. Like I went back to it today as I placed it on my very tail end here, and I was like, this is an amazing album. It's super dope, and I understand everybody that puts this at number 1 of the year.
Yes, absolutely. This is the album that made me a Mike convert.
Oh yeah,
because finally. I was like, yeah, Mike's dope. I like Mike. Like I'm pro Mike, but I wasn't like sold on him at all. I mean, no, I don't want to say I wasn't sold. I understood why people enjoyed his music so much, but
didn't click.
Disco hadn't clicked. And that was the one that everybody was like, yo, this album is incredible. This is the best album of the year. You got to check this out.
It was my album of the year that year.
Might have been your album of the year as well. And then like the joint with Wiki and Beware of the Monkey, I liked both of those quite a bit. But again, like it hadn't sold me on like, oh, why is Mike so many people's favorite MC right now? This album was the one that did it for me. It's the just the right combination of being like digestible and listenable, little on the long side, but also just pretty easy to go through. Even though it's very diverse, it has a whole bunch of styles and varieties on here, and there's just like a dopeness to it that I hadn't picked up on with some of the previous works. Maybe it's the to quote the song title the African sex freak fantasy element of it. You know, this like Ugandan cinema Wakaliwood style cover, and just that whole overall visual of it, the fact it's kind of dusty, and I don't know, this was the album that sold me on Mike. Like
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm a fan
now. Because I'm a huge champion of the guy, and I think he's really dope. He just ended up here. So I kind of wanted to put that right there with Beware the Monkey, but I'm not cheating this year. I'm just keeping it to a single joint, unlike what I did last year with Billy Woods. So what do you got? What do you got next for?
I put Love the Genius and DJ Green Lantern. The Genius tape. This was another one that kind of came out of nowhere for me. I was like, I wasn't familiar with Love the Genius like that. She'd appeared on some tapes and stuff I'd heard, but I wasn't really familiar with her work. And then you've got DJ Green Lantern, a legend, like someone who's been prevalent in the hip hop world as long as I've been like conscious of it. And I mean, just listen to it.
It's dope. Like, she's incredible.
The rapping on his is fucking dope, and just the styles that come with having like a dope lady face MC on here is always welcome, because for better or for worse, arguably for worse, the underground hip hop thing is really male dominated.
Hella dick
You look
heavy.
at like the lists. You look at the list of the albums we've reviewed this year. We've reviewed maybe 5 women and maybe 30 odd men. Like it is a very
more than 30 men. We reviewed 72 albums.
72 albums this year. Shit.
And hella dudes.
Maybe 5 of them were women, right? Like of the albums we reviewed this year.
No Name, Nappy Nina Hair, and Love the Genius.
Carrie
Foe as well.
All of whom, barring the Carrie Foe, are going to show up in this and other videos. But
well, I feel you on that. Actually, this is my favorite Griselda release of the year. It was kind of in contention with like with the Rome Streets Nose Candy 5 shit.
I think that was a big part of it as well, because I do love Griselda. I do still enjoy that style of neo boom bap or whatever you want to call it, cocaine rap, whatever. But this specific incarnation of it, more so than even like the Este Nax or Jim Duggan joint, is just like refreshing to me. It's like hearing it again for the first time for me. I really
also
enjoyed
just
this
like
record.
Fucking bars. This is like really back to the essence, like real dope, just sample choice, lyricism, message, presence. This album is very strong. I fuck with that heavy.
What?
Let me get into mine. So my next pick here is going to probably surprise people again, but I've got Armand Hammer.
Ooh,
we buy diabetic test strips. Now, of course, we did the whole long episode with Jamil at Sonic Cloth. El Spade was there for that one. Really great album. Really incredible album. I just found myself at a fork in the road, and who to choose between albums of like double MCs on my list, because I didn't want to have double MC on my top 10 list for a few different reasons, especially ones with kind of comparable approaches. And this album even features like JPEG Mafia. So I just, at the end of the day, I just found other reasons to place other albums ahead of this. I really do like this. I like how I like the cohesion. Look at the video. Like everything I said about it, I still maintain. I still rock with it. But I did find myself not wanting to listen to single tracks on this album as much as I wanted to listen to it as a whole. And that kind of put it behind some other albums that got a lot more replay just because of the accessibility for me on it. So that was kind of it.
That's interesting, because I've ranked this one is in my top 10, but I also haven't listened to it that much. Unless I'm listening to the whole thing from start to finish. I don't want to mark that against the album, because you wouldn't mark I don't know,
A great movie
a thousand
against-
years of
yeah.
solitude worse than Cat in the Hat because one is real
Right.
easy to read, right? Like,
Right.
but on the other hand, I know what you mean. Like, it's not an album that I go back to all that often. I think it is a wonderful record. I do think that the artists in question have released better work this year.
Word. I'm not gonna give y'all anybody who's on my actual top 10
Okay,
list,
what?
but you know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Armand Hammer, We Buy Diabetic Test Strips. It's incredible, but that's where I'm at.
You know the vibe. AJ Suede, Televangel, Parthian Shots. I liked the previous collaboration, Metatron's Cube, but I didn't love that record. And that was an album that the production really grabbed me, but Suede's bars weren't quite to the standard that I would expect from him now at this point in time. But he is. I don't even know if he stepped it up because I'm not that familiar with like the Darth
He's been
Suede
dope.
era.
I think that Metatron just didn't click for all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't one that clicked, but this album's fucking phenomenal. This album sounds so. I mean, listen to this again.
Yeah, this beat is crazy. This is one of my favorite songs of the year.
Yeah,
This is one
absolutely.
of my favorites right now. With
Televangel has not really missed this year because the Milk Joint, The Fish That Saved Portland,
top 3 producer of the year
also
for me.
fire. Yeah, likewise. Televangel's had a really, really good run this year, and this is kind of a perfected vision of the AJ Suede
his
Televangel
fucking soundscapes
project,
are
the
crazy.
soundscape for me.
Yeah, he's crazy.
I don't know if the Jesus joint is better because I haven't listened to it yet, and I also kind of felt like it came out late enough in the year that I could get away with not including it on my year-end list. The single's fucking sick, and I love Rory. Rory's one of my favorite
I'm gonna get
MCs.
into it because it's on.
Okay, it's on
this
here,
list,
so yeah, okay, well, we'll talk about that then. But yeah, Parthian Shots is really, really good. Arc Flashington's also really, really good. Sounds like the Jesus joint is also really, really good. Like, so if you don't know about AJ Suede, like, yeah, get to know.
Yeah, I come around. Yeah, this album is dope. Should I go into my next?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so my next joint is McKinley Dixon, Beloved Paradise Jazz. Oh man, such a beautiful album. Black as fuck. Incredible message, incredible title, incredible artistry. It is just like it was almost too beautiful for me at times, where it was just like too polished, too
That's
clean, too amazing.
Why this isn't on my
Yeah,
list? It's wonderful, but like maybe it's a little too wonderful for me. Like I wear
Yeah.
black hoodies every day. Like I'm not. And also my next album is probably the biggest contrast to this album of like any hip hop album this year.
Word.
This album is stunning. I mean, the live instrumentation is incredible. The rapping is on here. I'm sure this is going to be on a number of top 10 lists to come out this year. It deserves think pieces if the last Kendrick Lamar can get think pieces.
A couple people have placed it pretty high on their list. I've seen a couple like Stereo Gum or some of these outlets. I just check to see where they're at. You know, the outlets that have their finger on the wider pulse of releases from all genres, and I've seen it on there a lot, and I was glad to hear that because I don't think our review got a lot of attention in terms of the reception from this, but I did think that it was incredible, and I'm looking forward to seeing more from McKinley Dixon in the future. Another reason that I kind of ended up placing this 11th is because I went back to his other albums because this is my introduction to him pretty much, and I was kind of feeling the other albums a lot too.
Okay, what?
For the differences in the production aesthetic. Like this one is very kind of
glossy,
Black American musicality.
Yes,
you know what I mean, from the blues, the soul, the funk, the jazz, and all that. And I was just kind of like, I listened to a lot of jazz. And my non-hip-hop list is probably going to be full of a lot of jazz, but this is a little bit more conventional, and your boy Mega likes to fucking be in the dumpster with the dirty shit and the weird avant-garde shit. But yeah, incredible album.
Beautiful, like absolutely stunning, and very like emotionally intelligent album as well. Lyrically, deals with like a whole variety of great subjects, but also positive and uplifting.
I mean, just the title of the album alone for me is just kind of like, champion black women.
I actually found a copy of Paradise in the street the other day.
You sent me a picture of that shit.
I just found
a couple weeks ago,
around.
right? Yeah. I was like, hey,
Somebody had just left it on the side of the road. It was weird as well because, like, in Tokyo, people will just leave out like things that they don't want to throw away, but at the same time they don't want to keep. They'll just leave them out front in like a box with like Ojiu ni Dozo, like Motai Nai Philosophy, and all of the other books in that like collection that they had left out there, dog shit.
Oh,
like,
right.
It was all like either motivational type shit, like Think and Grow Rich type shit, or it was like
48 Laws of Power,
or it was like Bitcoin shit. It was like, oh, this person's definitely lost a bunch of money in Bitcoin. They've just tossed out
Rich
all these
Dad,
books.
Poor Dad,
and then also just Paradise. So
okay, I mean, if they figured it out, I'm glad that they did. What do you got next?
So in stark contrast to McKinley Dixon, I'm going to go with an album whose title seems to have changed. This album was called Cassette Tape Music by Blackie, all caps with spaces, from Houston. Now is called Catharsis Only, which probably is the most descriptive way of describing this album. This is like... I don't even know how to talk about this album. I mean, it's just the rawest shit to come out this year. Yeah. Some of the tracks don't even have beats. Like, some of it is just like... And that absolute raw cry of fucking black catharsis, unapologetically powerful stuff. Barely even music. Just
you're right. This is
pure.
This is definitely opposite. But not opposite. Like, it's just hella like the other side of the mirror of that McKinley Dixon,
it's
right?
the other side of the mirror. It's the full scope of how wonderful the black musical experience can be, and how amazing hip hop is as a genre, and how nebulous genre is as a topic. Like,
indeed.
This is not an album for everyone. This is probably the worst album of the year for a lot of people who have listened to it. But as far as like pure, this track is like the most industrial sounding one on the album, but a lot of it is sheer harsh noise type shit. Like, it sounds like Masona or whatever. And yeah, I love it personally. Stay elevated.
This shit is like coffee.
Free the black consciousness.
Yeah, word. My next joint is also like it's a little bit more conventional, and it's a late contender that came out late in the year. We just released this review. I think it's the last review that we have up on the channel at this point. Heavy Vibrato by Elzhi and Ono. This album blew me away, and for the first few passes at my top 10 of the year list, I was struggling. Like, man, I really wanted to put this on there. I felt like it pushed out the Black Thought El Michel Affair album that came out, which was also tremendous and does something similar to this album. Just great musicality, great bars. But I started feeling a little bit like the way that you felt about Garbology, where Black Thought is just kind of barring the fuck out. And it's just kind of like a bit overloaded for me. And I just was like, all right, well, fuck it. I'm going heavy vibrato. I think that my analytical instrument with like listening to music, the recency bias is not clouding it. After I listened to it a few more times, I was like, yeah, this is just as incredible as I thought it was. It's got staying power. It's dope. The production, the lyrics, everything, full package, just amazing.
I think I liked the bars on the Black Thought joint a little bit more, but the production more on this one.
Okay.
And I think the production is what pushes this over the top for me. Neither of those albums made the list for me today, but like, I mean, this album is like there's a purity to this record in how it is absolute top tier rapping and absolute top tier production, but also it doesn't like feel a need to kind of display. It doesn't, even though Elzhi is like a braggadocious MC, he always flexes about how good he is at rapping. Like, he's not always doing crazy shit on this record. Sometimes it is just like, all right, let me get a flow off, and the flow is just like so precise, so sharp, so perfect.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, really, really
Like,
amazing.
this is impressing my friends. I got to admit, one of the reasons that also this pushed the Black Thought out is just the kind of space that Black Thought occupies in hip hop culture. He's huge. He's a giant, and for some reason, I felt kind of compelled to champion one of the lesser known MCs just to give him a bit more shine, because Black Thought's getting shine. If you know anything about fucking rap music and hip hop, and you listen to that Black Thought, undeniable, could definitely be album of the year, and I would never question somebody's taste if it was number one of the year over every single other album that came out this year. It's amazing. But your boy just want to give a little bit to Elzhi and Ono.
What?
Because I do what I want. I do what I like. So yeah, this is that's I don't even know what number we're on now. 17. That was 17 for me.
Yeah, my list is.
We're just going. Yeah,
like
we're
that.
just
keeping it
I've got
going.
my numbers, so I'll keep a little bit of track.
Okay, what?
Yeah, yeah.
So
if you want to come in off yours next.
Air Reflection.
Okay.
Sorry, not Reflection. That's the track that I'm playing. Headspace is the name of the album. Future, Afrofuturist, cyber music that we're going to be listening to in 200 years today. Just the level of like swagger on display here. This is a different lane.
Yeah.
Like, this is two artists who have just gone out and carved their own lane rather than concerning themselves with fucking trying to sound like anyone else or anything like that. Messiah and J words, like, incredible.
This is like a 12 for me. Like, this is like the 12th pick
Just
for me.
outside of,
It got pushed out by another MC artist collaboration on my top 10 list, but yeah, absolutely, I think that this is very well could be a top 5 album of the year. If people want to say it's their favorite, I think they're smart, and I think that they've got their finger on something that is important and dope. One of my favorite albums of the year, and one that I think should definitely be getting a lot more eyes on it. Like, it surprises me that the comment section is like,
we didn't really get any comments on that one, and it had like 80 views or something. Like, go back and watch that review, go listen to the album, go give them some love, because I really think this is a special record. And
I like that we got on it, because like it's dope music, but with us, I'm never looking like, is there an album that we could do that is going to get eyes on it? In fact, sometimes we don't do albums that we know going to get eyes on it. That's why we don't have
the Black Thought.
That's why we didn't do the Black Thought. We didn't do the Earl in Alchemist. Like, we never think about that. Like, I know it seems a little bit off and weird, but yeah, we on some different shit over here. Perhaps to our detriment in terms of us being successful YouTubers, but we didn't start this to be fucking successful YouTubers. We started this to talk about this shit. So yeah, that's just how it is, right? But shout out to the Patreon. Like, I literally give Jet fucking train money almost every single time it comes through. We're that poverty line.
What?
You know what I mean? Even though we're in Tokyo, we're that poverty line. And even though, sometimes
I couldn't live like this in my hometown.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Tokyo is so much cheaper than London. There's no way owning what I'm owning right now I could live like that in London.
Even being like dead, like, you guys, I understand it's hard to quantify, but we're dead center of Tokyo. Like, we literally can walk to all the dope places. You remember when Wolverine was fighting on top of the fucking train? Like, that's right over there. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that shit also made no sense whatever. He like gets on the train at like Shinagawa, fights for like 8 minutes, and then he's in like Shinjuku, and then like runs out of the station and it's Shibuya.
This shit is for those who know, but we out here in the thickest.
It's fucking dope. It's fucking dope.
My next album, Blockhead, the Ox.
The Ox. Yep.
Blockhead, the Ox. And, amazing album.
Yes.
Amazing album. It's got everybody on it. It's fucking interesting. Blockhead is amazing. At the end of the day, I'm not even really sure how this didn't make its way in. I think I just prioritized some other albums over it. But this one is so tremendously strong. I think if I could say, like, I'm not going to say what pushed it out, because I know exactly what album it was that pushed it out, and I kind of want to keep my surprise on for the top 10. But yeah, it just had a few songs on it that I didn't go back to all that much, when another album had less than a few songs that I didn't go back to.
What?
But again, another one of those albums, clean 11 for me.
Yep.
Easily a top number 1, number 5 for anybody else, and I think you're a smart person.
You can also throw this on at like any track and just listen to it.
Yeah.
Like the album works as individual pieces. It also works as like a sum of its parts.
Yeah.
The album feels like a party, and all the best MCs in the world got invited, or at least most of them. Like part of the complaints that we had, and then I saw people in the comments as well, were just like, "Oh man, why isn't blah 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 on there?" You know, because there's just so many fucking insanely dope MCs on here that it feels almost weird. Like, oh man, why didn't Rory make it on here?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this album, it's like put on the, you know, the title The Orcs is so fitting in the sense that, you know, there's been all these memes recently, like, oh, when your friend hands you the Orcs and it's like a picture of a building on fire or like a car going up in flames or whatever.
Or a trash can.
Or a trash can, whatever.
Yeah,
like,
so.
and this is very much that. Not a trash can, of course, but like
this is explosion.
The house is
yeah,
the roof's been blown off the house.
Yeah, beautiful album. Incredible lyricism all around. Production, lyricism, everything. Yeah. Plus, like, yo, I was looking at my list, like, Fatboy Sharif is on like every single other
He's on
album.
every album.
I'm telling you, like, me and Jet were thinking about doing a top 3 producers, top 3 MCs of the year. Spoiler alert.
Fatboy Sharif.
Fatboy Sharif, number
Fatboy
1,
Sharif,
bro. Like, come on.
Televangel.
fucking
like, yeah, we're gonna
Still
have some.
Tip Dove.
Still Tip Dove.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some
fucking
crossover
AJ
here.
Suede. Like, some cats was
Fuck.
just. They didn't do anything other than rapping this year and signing off on what album art they wanted on it or some shit. It was crazy. My next joint.
This is my.
Your next joint. I'm sorry. Yeah.
My next joint is an EP. We're moving away from albums for a second. Nakama, Kindling. Kindling _, I should say.
Shout out to Nakama, man. Period.
I was not familiar with Nakama until the King Vision Ultra review. And this shit's so fucking ill. This would be a comfortable, like, top 10 albums of the year for me if it was an album.
It was just too short.
If it was,
It was just too short. That's all. It got kicked out because it was just too
if
short.
this shit was 3 times the length that it is right now, I'd be like, yeah, this is number 1 or 2.
Yeah. Bro, I went back into his catalog so much because I wasn't familiar until King Vision Ultra either.
Yeah.
I went back to his catalog. Oh my God, there's fire everywhere. I found myself, for my songs of the year, I found myself cheating. I was like, I'm just going to put it on there. Nobody's going to catch it. I'm not going to say it didn't come out this year. Nobody's going to catch it. But yeah, I'm going to put that Nakama on there. I probably won't, but man, incredible choice. Actually, I'm really glad that you got that on there. In fact, Jet, I was relying on you to have certain albums in your top 10, so I didn't have to put them on there. To be honest with you. To be honest with you.
I was like, oh, I hope Mega's stuck that on there. There's a couple more on there. I'm like, oh man, sure hope that Sketch 185's on one of our lists.
Bro. Exactly.
You probably haven't heard this record before, and
you probably haven't heard of Nakama. He's not a huge artist like that.
Not a huge artist, but
he's a great artist.
This is exactly my lane of just off-kilter, electronic-y, sampley, weird, noisy, chaotic beats, and an MC just rapping his ass off over the top.
The subject matter is never leaning into things that I find problematic to have on repeat often. Like, I don't really trip on, like, any variety of raps, but you guys know me, like, ideologically, I can't sit around with misogyny and drug usage all that much and other things that I feel are a little bit more detrimental, especially when compared to the outcomes in black communities, in American communities. But Nakama's not on any of that, and I'm be fucking with that.
I mean, that whole circle are just dope people.
Yeah, like, incredible artistry.
And, like, comrades, you know, people who are really doing the good fight.
Yeah, super dope. Super dope EP. Dope. Yeah. Should I go off of my next joint, man? Okay. Oh my God, this almost made this was on my top 10 until about 3 hours ago, to be honest with you. And I was feeling away about it. It's AJ Suede, Rap Ferreira, Still Tipped Up, G's Us. And it's What Them Dogs Don't Know They Know. This album is crazy. It was just a little bit too short. And I feasibly could have had Parthian Shots with Televangel on there, Arc Flashington, AJ Suede shit, Lilac Diesel on there. I just,
insane run.
Like, Rory didn't release an album for the public in the way that he usually does this year. There was some special releases. I bought one of them that was only available on his website or his Bandcamp or whatever for a limited time. And I wanted to put that on there because Rory is one of my favorite MCs, if not my favorite writer right now.
Yeah.
And the work that they do on this album with Steel Tip Dove, it's such a ride. It's just amazing. And you know, if y'all know me for any type of degree, anytime somebody talk about it's a free nigga parade, bro, you know we out here. I'm already like, listen to this.
Mind always racing and it's hard to keep my brain still. Charging to the game.
My God.
Rage quit. Rappers make the same shit. So
Fucking AJ Suede over the, bro, I'm telling you, this nigga AJ Suede is working his ass off. It's crazy. Like, the first time I got really into him was at Metatron's Cube, and this year he really endeared himself to me as one of my favorites. And this album, it should have been on my top 10, but I just felt like it came out a week ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it came out a week ago.
So consider this an honorary top 10 album for me. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's probably fucking fire. Yeah. This track I'm hearing right now is fire.
Bro,
the single was fire.
It is crazy. The production, you know, Steel Tip is going to put some sprinkles on some shit that's unusual and strange, and it's just like, I like Steel Tip killed so much this year. I got so much to say about that. Maybe we'll record something later about that specifically, but man, this album is...
Rebelling was a thrill, but you're used to asking for paid time off. I'm my own boss, measure twice, then
Poet.
the gnawing of ghost hunger would never boast over a number.
Bro, this album, I was out drinking by myself on the corner at 3 o'clock in the morning last night, just sitting in the cold on the street by the family mart, drinking highball by myself, just kind of like spinning off of this shit. Amazing. Thank you for catching that. But yeah, we'll get into it. What do you got next on the docket?
OBIJUAN APOXALYPSO. Although, to be honest, like, this should probably be the trilogy. OBIJUAN put out a trilogy of albums with Dylan the Infamous, Guanahani, Kaonabo.
He sent this one
APOXALYPSO,
to us, right?
And so we reviewed the
Kaonabo
Kaonabo joint.
Yeah.
And right now, this album APOXALYPSO is only available on his Bandcamp for $333.33.
I didn't get that one. You told me to download it, and for some reason I was going through a depression spiral.
I'll slide it over to
I was
you
on
after.
a downward spiral. I didn't download it.
In fact, like, apologies to OBIJUAN if he doesn't want people hearing this right now in the background.
We're talking over it. Please
yeah,
do,
I mean,
though.
the trilogy, it's like brilliant, anti-colonial, like
anti-imperialist,
anti-imperialist, Bahamian, you know, through and through, outside of the periphery.
I might as well just spoil it here because I got a lot to say about it on my top 10. It made my top 10. Kaonabo made my top 10 albums of the year list. It's something else, and I'll get into that when we really punctuate it. But OBIJUAN, I think that he's similar to what people would like. If you threw on him and a bunch of other artists, you'd be like, oh, this is fairly similar. But when you start to get down to brass tacks and see what really OBIJUAN is talking about, there's a level there that is not a veneer. It ain't some facetious shit. It ain't some shit. There's really some like proud black indigenous motherfucking shit going on, and the way that he incorporates parts of that culture into his music. If you ain't on it, you should get on it.
And oddly enough, this is probably a really like the best entry point to this trilogy.
Is that right?
It's a little more accessible, I would say, than Kaonabo. You can even hear just by like listening, you can make out the lyrics a little bit easier. It's not quite as like you know, you have to like really, really concentrate to get what he's putting out. Thematically, it carries a lot of the same themes and ideas, but maybe isn't quite as like aggressively anti-imperialist as Kaonabo is, because there's also a celebratory aspect to it. You know, APOXALYPSO, Calypso being the music form from the Caribbean, that often had like a hidden anti-colonial messaging in it, and it was you know some of the
deep spiritual resonance,
and that's something that's very prevalent in all of Obi-Wan's music. We made the mistake of saying that it was a play on Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Star Wars character, but he says it's Obia, which is the Caribbean spiritual practice, something that if like my Jamaican family saw me talking about, they'd be very, very distressed because they're very much under that Christian boat, but like
definitely
you know, Obia, Haitian voodoo, and missing the other like major spiritual practice that you hear a lot.
It's all right to come to us later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
We
how
freestyle.
it is.
This
L'esprit
is
de
freestyle,
l'escalier.
yeah.
But yeah, this album's incredible. The whole trilogy's incredible. And you know, if you're like some rich tech guy who gets paid $800 a day to sit at a desk, go kick on Man Obi-Wan $333. You got the money. The album's worth that much. Go invest in a great artist.
Probably one of the most shocking artist discoveries for me this year. Just amazing. My next joint, which I'm not even sure what number we're at now. 14.
Yeah, that was just my 14, my 13.
You guys know I love Driver. You guys know I've been a fan of Driver for almost 30 years and shit, right? Like I probably got into him like 98, 99. And this album, it was weird because it got removed. He took it off a line. He took it off of his Bandcamp. You can't, unless you downloaded it, it's not on YouTube. It's not on any DSPs. It's not available for purchase anymore. And I bought it and I downloaded it. And, you know, Jed and I sat down and we discussed it for a long time. And in the comments, some of the issues which I feel like perhaps impacted this album came about. I had a discussion with, I think, M. Lamberg in the comment section, and a lot of people are feeling a way about Busdriver these days. I think that because of his Me Too moment, he's a bit radioactive right now, and I think that perhaps that played a part in the rollout of the album. It wasn't well received. None of your typical indie outlets really talked about it, but it was one of my favorite Busdriver albums pretty much of all time. I like this better than Electricity Is On Our Side. I'm a huge fan of him, and if you're interested in my thoughts on the cancellation, how I navigate those type of things and my politics and how they associate with that, you can read it in the comments. I think I was pretty clear about how I feel about it, and I'm not there. I'm not there with the cancellation in any significant sense. I'm not boycotting or doing anything. I just thought this album was incredible and I loved it, and it's gone. So I felt like I can't put this on my top 10.
Yeah,
it's gone.
I mean, I've memed on this album a lot, like in person.
I actually counted. How many times he says "driver" on this album.
Yeah,
it's like less than 5.
Really?
Yeah, it's less than 5.
It's just stuck in my. I don't know that shit. I still do that. I'm in the shower or whatever. You know, I'm taking a shower. I got my soap on my side. I got shampoo over here. Driver. Like I've just been. Yeah, it's
You got to say words like ragamuffin and weird slang that he's probably going to eat rapscallions. No, the Driver is amazing. I think he's one of the
foolery in the shower. Driver,
an amazingly important black artist in the United States, and I don't have any substantial things to say about the way he navigated his friendships after that, or the way that it was, you know, what happened. It's not my place to say. All I know is that, yeah, that's something that happened, and it's 11 for me.
This one is probably also going to be in a bunch of people's top 10s and probably should be in mine, to be honest. Like I'm now having like buyer's remorse, like, oh shit, maybe I should have switched.
There's still time.
Switch this with my number 10. Open Mike Eagle, another triumph of ghetto engineering. This album, and then an album that I guess is a 12th favorite. The Video Dave and Controller 7 Articulated Textiles. Those two albums kind of fit together for me in a certain way. There's a certain lane that Open Mike Eagle and Video Dave and that kind of that circle.
I'm struggling to come up with the right adjectives and words to describe it, but they do feel very comparable.
Wistful, but not in like a
whimsy, not silly type of like everyman type of. I kind of feel the same way about the Ajay too. Like I feel like those are all kind of complementary pieces, and I got kind of like choice paralysis with those three. And I was like, all three of them just got to go to 12.
Yeah.
Because I started to. One of the reasons that I didn't put the Video Dave on is that I thought that I was kind of, how can I put it on my top 10? I can't remember the song titles.
Right.
And then with the Open Mic, I was like, it's a little bit too short.
Yeah.
And then with the Ajay, I was like, I listened to this like I watch cinema,
Right.
and not the way I listen to music. So they all just kind of made 12.
Well,
but I love all three of them.
I didn't really get the Ajay because I hadn't listened to Ajay 1 and I wasn't really familiar with the Serengeti shared universe. Shouts out to Video Dave who left us a comment recently clarifying some features of the Ajay universe that I guess you had gotten wrong. I guess you'd confused two of the characters or something. But that's also a wonderful record, as is the Video Dave. But this one was my favorite of the three, probably because it's the most conventional of the three. It is in its own lane. Open Mike Eagle is doing his own thing on here. But at the same time, it's like it's a little dustier and a little more off kilter than like the Anime Trauma and Divorce joint from a couple years ago.
It's shorter and there's 2 songs on there that could be 1 song.
Right, exactly. Because you have like a reprise at the end. And one of the tracks is kind of an interlude where he just shouts out the entire underground hip-hop scene from his perspective.
Mad enough to aim a pyramid at you. One of the song titles.
One of the best titles of the year. Yeah, absolutely.
Young Z, amazing.
I've never been that mad before.
I am now. I've learned to harness that pyramid power.
I'm just tired.
Yeah, I'm so tired right now. That's why I've got this. Yo, shout out to Paulie Ram. He thought I was drinking. I know his little Midwest ass call it pop, but I wasn't drinking soda, my G. It's all coffee, and that's what I'm doing now. Jed and I are going to
go to a party,
after this. So, my number 13 is an album that again could have really been top 10. I had to do some mental gymnastics to get it out of there, I think. But it kind of feels like the Aux to me. It's just like one of the more interesting styles of production coupled with an elder statesman doing incredible things. One of my favorite works from Eligh ever at this point. The features, incredible cast of characters. And I just love seeing this. You guys, I'm a West Coasty cat. I grew up in Oceanside, California, Inglewood, California, and I went to Hawaii for high school. And to have that LA underground synthesis again with what I consider Aloeight, a part of that Hawaii thing, it just was a perfect combination. And like the production
is so high level on here.
Nothing sounds like this.
No.
Nothing sounds like this. And it's not because it's weird. It's just because it's Aloeight.
Yeah, he's in his own lane there.
And Eligh, it's great. Halo Boy.
This would have made my list, except I didn't like the title track, and I still sing it to myself every day. Normally that'd be like, all right, whatever, there's one skip on the album for me, but it is the central thesis of the album, and that track does need to be there.
Yeah. It's the only one I skip to. I'm gonna keep it real. It's the only one I skip.
But this joint, We Orbit, is one of my favorite songs of the year. I mean, Living
that
Legends.
Kind of
like I mean, I don't
surf
know.
guitar. Like it's
beautiful.
The guitars on this are amazing, and I recommend everybody get to it. It's fucking great. Like you probably missed this one.
I think the review did okay. I think got a few hundred.
I mean,
views,
Aloeight came through. Staple Mouth came through, and those are two of the artists. Like the best compliment for me on our channel is somebody finds out about some music that they really just didn't know and they come to love it. That's my favorite response. And my second favorite is when the artist says, I appreciate you guys doing it because this is part of our intention. Yes. You guys really took the time to listen to it, and that's all we want to do. We want to hip y'all to what's hip. We'll put y'all on the game, the hip cat science, and we also just want to champion some of the greatest artists that are out. They don't get that type of love. Come on, shit.
Aloeight has something coming next year that
he said with us. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Elzhi.
I don't know what it's going to be like. But what he's teased to us has got me very, very excited. I could easily see whatever he's working on
Mickey
being
Fax project,
like one of my best albums. I don't know. It's going to be fucking fire.
He's incredible.
Way, so get to know it.
Incredible.
Okay, and then my number 11. I've realized what's happened because after the mic we jumped to my next album, but that was also mine. So I've only got one album left. I guess you have two left to talk about.
That's right. You want me to just go off?
So yeah, go for it.
All right, number 12. Hold on, let me get back to my jams. One of the most interesting listens of the year from a champion of Canadian hip-hop culture in general, the underground independent scene, Buck 65, super dope. I know this album probably don't click with a lot of people because it's values, but man, this is One of the most incredible fucking.
I like Mandela affected this album out of existence
Yeah?
for myself because this album doesn't belong in this timeline. I don't know where where Buck 65 got this. I don't like. He went to like the universe where like gangster rap never happened and people were still doing head spins, like,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. It's fucking fire. Like, this could have been in my top 10 as well, to be honest.
Yeah. This is a definitive 11. Like, this should have been in my top 10, but I put some other albums in. I'm sorry.
It's a wonderful treatise on hauntology, like plunderphonics, like and the drums are all fucking banging as well.
You know, and the album also endeared itself to me more because I hung out with 6ix2ii a couple times since he's been out here.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it. We've talked about, you know, his work, and I've got kind of a deeper look into their relationship, and I just feel like, man, why doesn't everybody know Buck 65? You know, it's the namesake of our channel, Secret House Against the World, and I was getting my hair cut today by my wife and shit, and this was playing, and she found herself accidentally cutting my hair to the beats and shit, and I was like, oh, what are you doing here? Like, get me lined up real nice and shit. But yeah, amazing. I'm gonna watch our review on that. That's all I really have to say about it.
Give that one a watch.
There's some magic happening there. And for we're at 11
my last
now,
one, yeah, my 11, again, no particular order in this list, but my 11 is Revolver by Naked Under Leather and Botsu, aka Negase. This is probably my biggest wild card of like my entire top 20. I occasionally lurk Botsu's Discord. This is a Japanese collaboration between two artists, I believe, based in Nagoya.
Boats moved, yeah?
Yeah, I believe he lives in Nagoya. Shouts out to the homie Bundabura for highlighting that. He's like, yeah, he moved out. He's like married and shit now. He's like,
I haven't spoke to him since COVID's first started.
What?
Like 2021 or some shit. So.
I should highlight, like, full disclosure. I don't know, like, Mega and my homie Bundabara are both friends with Botsu. I don't know him. I've never met him. I don't know him personally. I'm just a fan of his work. He's
done my podcast. We're friendly. Yeah.
One half of Dos Monos. Oh, sorry, one third of Dos Monos.
Yeah.
Naked Under Leather is someone who I've seen on the Discord, like, just making really dope avant-garde, like, flips of things. He really like mutilates his samples in a way that it doesn't even remotely resemble its source material.
Respect.
And this album is...
I didn't hear this.
Yeah,
I've only heard singles from him.
It's a very, very short, breezy listen, but it's like pretty peak, like avant-garde, noisy, but not like too unpleasant to listen to type beats. And the production, the rapping on here, I mean, my Japanese is not good enough to catch up on like the subject matter and the nuance. And there's some vocoder singing and stuff on here, but just the texture of this record is really unique and quite wonderful. I don't know if there's anything else like this that's going to be in either of our top 20s.
No, absolutely not. Boats doesn't make music that is similar to other people and shit.
No.
Yeah, no, they're incredible. I suggest you guys check out Dos Monos, and yeah, if you're fans of who's a good
Captain Beefheart.
Yeah, that's a good one. Captain Beefheart's good. Who else am I thinking of? They've collaborated with them.
Injury Reserve?
Yeah, Injury Reserve, and yeah, do that.
I like this better than anything Dos Monos have put out since that first album.
I kind of like Boats' solo shit more than I like some of the newer Dos Monos shit.
Yeah. Yeah, last year I put his track I Don't Care About You Right Now on my favorite songs of the year list, and that's still one of my favorite songs of the year. Of that year. He said he would actually release it like as a streamable or downloadable buyable single. I don't think he has, but I hope he does.
Word. Yeah, good shit. I have to check that one out. I missed that one. I guess, all right, for the last song on this list, or the last album on these lists that Jed and I have put together, is Zilla, Rocca, Jason Griff, Stacking Chips. really dope hip hop music, some fucking bangers, some good concept tracks. The album has a an overarching theme that I think is endearing as well, and also that fucking Doom song gets stuck in my head so much. Like one of my favorite songs of the year. And this was pushed out by another artist that I'll disclose later on my top 10, but I really love this album. So much of this shit is right on my wavelength of just grown man's fucking hip hop, like, but not like grown man hip hop. It's just I find myself with the same back pain. You know what I mean? Like I feel on the same page with a lot of the thoughts that Zilla has, Zilla Rocca has on this, and Jason Griff's production on this shit is just. And man, fucking some of these, like that Love Is Doom, amazing. This is the shit right here though. Like posse cut of the year, perhaps. Just don't panic. Just bars. Def C, everybody kills. Fucking yeah. Ace Cannons. Yeah, man. Really good list, Jet. I'm kind of compelled to see what we got going for our top 10s. I hope you guys are too. We've got a couple dark horse picks that didn't even make the 12s. Yeah.
Although in a way, I'm kind of like, if I was going to ask someone to watch either this or our top 10 list, at least for my own personal perspective, I'd rather they watch this one. Because, like, yeah, of course, Scaring the Hose is on my list, you know? Like, like, oh yeah, a fucking Billy Woods. So, like, yeah, in a way,
there are like 3 albums that I think people will know that are going to be on our list.
Yes.
The Woods, Maps for me, Scaring the Hose for me,
the No Name,
and the No Name. Yeah. But I think there's some, you know what I mean, some slips and some albums that I haven't even discussed with Jet that are on my top 10, and I'm excited to share that too. Yeah. What about? Let me see. There's some other albums that I really
mentions.
love. You know what I really? Of course, I mentioned the Rome Streets, the Black Thought. I mentioned those. Black Beach Boy by Henri Osborne is really good. One album that I really liked that found its way off of my list was Homeboy Sandman.
Yeah.
Rich.
I
love so many of those songs on there, but for whatever reason, it didn't find its way in. And the last one really is a Shook World.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't, like, I was just viewing it as like a whole cohesive piece, and it's the musicality on it is kind of like, just didn't get a lot of play because like a lot of the songs are like a no music.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I was hoping that it's on Jets.
Music
so I won't get
avant-garde type shit.
What kind of albums you got on your shit that is?
Chris Crack, he put out 3 albums this year. Free Sex, Battery Operated Simps, All My Friends Are Dead, not in that order. I don't remember which order they came out in, but Battery Operated Simps was my favorite of the 3. Can I play one track off here real quick? Real short track. This is one produced by a friend of the show, Aloeight, Goofies Need Guidance, one of the best song titles of the year too.
You're unplugged.
I'm unplugged. Hey, Secret House, technical issues. Let's go.
I can hear it. just through your phone speaker. Yeah.
Oh, I think we're good.
I think I've broke that. Okay.
I probably listened to this song more than any of the other songs in my top 20, like albums.
It's a jam.
It's short, but it's a jam. Shouts out to Aloeight as well.
One of the albums that didn't make mine. Here we go.
Got it.
Feek, Lungs, Lone Sword, Another Planet 4. They also have got an album with a No Face called Planet X that I actually kind of like a little bit more than this one, but that one's not on streaming. You have to buy that one.
Deem Spencer, Adult Swim. I liked that one quite a lot. The video Dave and Controller 7, Articulated Textiles. Wakai, Some People Scream, Some People Talk. Def Prez, It's Always a Time Like This. Sketch 185, He Left Nothing for the Swim Back. Vic Spencer and August Fanon, Psychological Cheat Sheet 4. Yame, Aloeight, Theravada and Zumo, Waste Management. Varnish La Piscine, This Lake is Successful. Fatboy Sharif, Spiritual.
Yeah, that didn't make my top 10, but I really like a lot of songs off of that.
The Black Milk, Everybody Good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was another fucking jam. Still Tip Dub in Alaska. Structural.
Dynamics
Dynamics
of Flow.
of Flow. Vic Spencer, August Fanon, Vic Spencer. If George Bush was cool. Fucking yeah. Ice Cold Bishop. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot. Mary Sue. Like, you know, I'm basically telling you all the albums that just aren't on my top 10 at this point. But yeah, so many good albums this year. Jet, we reviewed about like 72, I think.
What?
Maybe 74. Which is more than we did. Substantially more than we did any other year. We were to put it down. We appreciate you guys. I'm not going to do nothing. Just send me your list, and I'll just put that in the show notes, so I don't have to put no artwork on the screen. I'm just going to get this out. I'm going to render it right now. I'm going to try to connect it and get it out tonight.
All right, lists in the description.
Yeah, indeed.
Grouse.
I'm a rapper, how could I be bored? I'd rather spit bars. I even play beats doing chores. I got some shit in the